Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live 10 at 10.
Leaky roofs, balconies falling apart, excessive animal waste in the yard, and faulty electrical wiring. Just a few of the problems Fargo's housing inspectors find. Picking an apartment can be overwhelming, especially in the Fargo metro area. With a low occupancy rate of 5%, if you snooze, you lose.
But imagine the nightmare when your new apartment turns out to be a dud or worse, a safety risk. Valley News Team's Christina Craig did some digging to find out which apartment units have the most violations and how inspectors work to keep you safe. Christina?
After receiving numerous whistleblower calls from some of you around the valley regarding deplorable housing conditions, we wanted to know what housing inspectors constitute as a problem. And while people tend to complain about the larger apartment companies, we found that they aren't the ones that rack up the most violations. I sat down with Fargo's housing director and pulled 600 apartment records solely from 2014 to 15 to see which apartments were slapped the most violations. But the paperwork didn't end there. We dug deeper, sorting the more severe violations apart from the easy fixes in an effort to compile Fargo's more troublesome apartments.
Faulty fire alarms are one of the more common problems Fargo inspectors see. It's one of the many violations typically caused by the tenant property owners get dinged for.
I've been in some where there's been holes in the floor and you know, things where often it's a tenant that's done some serious damage inside.
But that isn't the case in this stack. 600 reports would prove otherwise.
This is going to have some problems.
Big ones?
Yeah.
A crumbling foundation, water-damaged ceilings, weakened treads of a stairwell, and an extension cord passing through a window which could be a potential fire hazard were just some of the major strikes at 118 University Drive North. This apartment rings in with the most severe violations on our list, 16. And the slew of problems is a concern tenants have picked up on. To create a balanced story, we gave a call to the property owner, Jerry Bowles. He declined to talk to us on camera, but says when a problem is brought to his attention, he doesn't hesitate to fix it. However, the department says, since their initial inspection, not all of the problems were patched up.
Yeah, we've seen a few wild things. There was one woman, hope she rests in peace because I think she's dead. She had 112 cats in her house. Not all of them were live.
It's frightening, but Fargo's inspections administrator Ron Strand has seen it all.
I see the really bad ones when we're going to have problems with them or they end up going to court. I see those.
Weighing in with 10 critical violations, and second on our list is 719 10th Street North. Areas of the roof were poorly constructed and missing soffit, leaving the rafters exposed. Electrical hazards were not up to code and deemed unsafe. And
so here's another one. This is paint peeling, siding detached, missing, stucco or brick crumbling. Are
just some of the more severe violations. We were able to get a hold of property owner Douglas Stensgaard, but he didn't want to comment. A re-inspection report states the second time around, even more issues were found.
Very few of these are going to be new buildings. We don't go out for the first 15 years after they're built because we figure, they should be okay.
And their methods hold true. It's why many of the older buildings need a bit more upkeep and typically rack up more issues that take time to fix. Damaged siding, a guardrail missing where required, and plastic foam insulation exposed, which can be a major fire hazard, are just a few of the problems at 1333 10th Street North. They total in with 10 offenses. Owner Charlotte Wiesel tells us she recently bought the property last year, knowing it was in rough shape. Since the report, she's poured in nearly $6 grand, remodeling the interior, repainting the siding, repairing the crumbling walls, and her laundry list goes on.
For the most part on most of the rental properties, it's going to be things like smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, safety items like that. We also look to see if there's things that are broken that should be fixed.
All too often, the Fargo Housing Department brings property owners who don't comply and make the necessary changes to court. This year alone, they have 7 ongoing cases. It's all an effort to keep you safe in your home and prevent a possibly dangerous situation. Steph?
All right, Christine, an eye-opening report. Now, with rapid apartment growth and nearly 20,000 apartment units sitting all throughout Fargo, inspectors are only able to review about 1/8 of those each year. And now, if you'd like to review the full list of Fargo's worst apartments, visit our website, valleynewslive.com.
The Grand Forks Air Force Base is back open after being in lockdown for a couple of hours tonight. A base spokesperson told me earlier that they got a call from the Grand Forks PD around 5:30 about a potential domestic violence incident on base. We heard the call involved a possible shooting. They wouldn't say any more. Regardless, it turned out to be false. The lockdown enabled security forces to check into the call. The lockdown was lifted around 7:30. A former MSU Moorhead football player has been sentenced to 60 days in jail for rape after pleading guilty last month to 5th-degree sexual conduct. Court documents say the victim said no multiple times, but Zachary Hilliard allegedly continued to rape her.
For a more serious charge, we would have needed physical force or injury. We would have needed to show some sort of perhaps incapacitation, or that she wasn't aware or couldn't consent or withhold consent. So there was a myriad of factors that fell into it.
Hilliard has already served 57 days and will be on probation for 2 years. We reached out to the judge in the case, Galen Vaugh, for comment, but he declined.
George Zimmerman, the former neighborhood watchman who was acquitted in the shooting death of Trayvon Martin 2 years ago, was involved in another shooting incident today. Police in Lake Mary, Florida say Zimmerman flagged down a police car and told the officer that someone shot at him inside his truck. They say that that same time they received a 911 call from a man who said he was involved in a shooting with George Zimmerman. Matthew Apperson had a previous run-in with Zimmerman in a road rage incident that occurred in September of last year. Zimmerman received cuts from the shattered car window then.
Work is underway at a new medical marijuana dispensary in Moorhead. It's going to be located at 7th and Main Plaza. That's where a Subway used to be. We got mixed reaction today from nearby businesses that we talked to. Many of them didn't know the shop was going in until we told them.
I'm not concerned with it being right next door or around the corner or whatever. It's like I have a pharmacy across the street. There's drugs there too, you know, so yeah, no, I'm not concerned.
Minnesota Medical Solutions says it picked the location because it has ample parking and easy access for patients. Security will be tight there and only patients will be allowed inside.
Fargo City Commission has approved the operation of Uber in the city. Service will begin on Thursday. Fargo is the first city in North Dakota to have this program. It's a rideshare app that connects drivers and riders and is available in more than 300 cities around the world. A program that the commission says will only benefit Fargo and make it more safe.
When we look at the transportation needs in the community, Uber seems it might fit a niche that a lot of younger people are looking for. And the other issue we have typically when the bars close at midnight or, 2 o'clock, there's not enough cabs to take care of everybody, and we'd rather have them take some type of ride home than to drive their own vehicle.
And now, just like taxi companies, drivers will have to go through a background check with Uber before being able to pick up passengers.
Fargo's fire department fought fewer fires this past year, but the amount of calls are up. Fire Chief Steve Dirksen says fire crews responded to 30 more calls 2 years ago than they did last. But they responded to 250 more calls this past year due to a change in dispatch to get more help to people faster. City commissioners mentioned the concerns of deck fires as we move into spring and summer.
We were seeing probably in the neighborhood of 30 a year. I think last year we had 15, I think, were related to a deck, and some of those were intentional. So we've seen a nice reduction in that. Again, as we educate and try to work with apartment owners and making sure that they're working with their tenants, that's what we continue to work on.
The cost of loss from fires is on a 3-year downturn with about $1.3 million lost. Remember to like Valley News Live on Facebook. You can follow the latest news, weather, and breaking news updates anytime on your feed. Just search Valley News Live, like our page, and you'll stay informed throughout the entire day.
Valley